Actress Elisabeth Bogler is married and with a young son. She collapses during a performance of Elektra. He then resorts to silence and isolation from the rest of the world. The nurse who treats her, Alma, accompanies her to her doctor's seaside house to improve her recovery. Despite the completely opposite characters, a strange osmosis will be created between the two women. Persona is the Latin word for masks, behind which the actors of antiquity hid their faces, to go on stage thus identified with the role indicated by their mask. Bergman's Persona, a film that Theodoros Angelopoulos places in the top 10 of all time. Starting the film, he tells the viewer directly that it is a movie. The beginning and the end of the film is done with the appearance of the spark, the famous charcoal, of a movie camera. Following a film footage, we also see the negative and scattered images that seem to come from scattered films, some of them old in Bergman's own. In fact, during the screening, the film is torn in two, stating in this impressively elaborate directing way that, just as everything in the film is changeable, fluid and seemingly, the film itself and the cinema in general are a dream. An image on a screen, confused with reality and especially with the existence of the artist. The viewer never knows or learns from what he sees is reality. After all, the original title of the film was Cinema. In the form of the film being the subject, it becomes an object at another time. Alma describes Elizabeth's horrible feelings for her child as if she were herself, while the lens focuses on Elizabeth's face, and in the next scene the dialogue is repeated as it is, with lens focusing on Alma's face. That it is real at any time can be refuted. Space and time are confused. The two heroines of the film, one constantly talking and the other listening, one suffering from a bad pregnancy and the other having an abortion, one is ill and the other therapist, clash and complement each other, to end up in the dreamy, photographed with special love. From the Sven Nykvist scene, where they exchange their personalities by crossing their heads, with an airy movement that only a Bergman could extract from his actors. Especially Liv Ullmann in her first appearance in a Bergman movie makes a shocking appearance uttering a single word, nothing. Overall, Tanya could be described as a philosophical essay on the dichotomy, the search for identity, but also the contrast between silence and words, healing and psychopathy. Movie on the verge of art or cinema itself when it replaces life, or serves here, as the artist's psychotherapy with wonderful results for both the work and himself. Bergman inspired the film during his hospitalization because in fact, he was going through a great personal crisis and he relied on all his hopes for recovery, believing that if he failed, he would not be able to continue his work, and for the viewer who experiences it with him. The dazzling photograph of Ingvist plays a decisive role in capturing all these issues, which with its transitions from deep black to bright white and especially with the lighting on the faces, emphasizes the theme of the director. After all, the primary building blocks of cinema are light and shadow. Ingmar Bergman uses J.S. Bach's scores most of the time to invest in his films. It is perfectly correct for the preeminent expressionist of theocratic agnosticism in cinema to resort to music with a deeply religious character, to indicate the great questions posed by his films. Here the Adagio from the violin and string concerto in A major, BWV 1042, by Bach, combines wonderfully with the atmosphere of the film. The most personal film of its creator is at the same time the quintessence of the modern cinema of 60s. In short, a masterpiece. Photography, Sven Nykvist. Screenplay, director, Ingmar Bergman. Cast, Liv Ullmann, B.B. Andersson, Gunnar Bjornström. Location, Sweden.